I'm Whitney.
I'm Mindy.
And I'm Deb.
We're three best friends who love nerdy things.
Well, some people think we're nerdy, but we think we're pretty awesome.
This is Our Nerdiest Thing.
Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to Our Nerdiest Thing. Today, we're going to be talking about The Idea of You, the book, versus the movie.
Dun, dun, dun.
Make sure you listen all the way to the end, guys, because we have a great interview with author Allie Shante. Which, fun fact, I said, hey, is it Allie Shante? And she was like, nope.
You want to go down to a shanty?
I was like, oh, that's my Kentucky accent. Allie Shante. And she was like, nope, that's not right. She was super fun to talk to. So make sure you listen all the way to the end for that interview. And before we get into anything else, Deb, will you please tell us a little bit, but only a little bit, about our nerdiest cocktail?
What happens if I tell you about the whole thing?
Then you go to timeout.
Oh, okay.
Whitney just pulled out her school marm.
No, only a little bit. Okay. It's a cocktail.
Perfect.
It's called Everyone is Dead, maybe. And you will learn more about it in our read-along episode this week. But it's tequila and pomegranate juice with some lime and sugar rim. And it's supposed to look like bloodshot eyes, which it really kind of does, which is fun.
Yeah,
I will say, we could not find pomegranate juice. Mindy said apparently it's with the fruit. I don't know why they put that juice separately. But so we use strawberry simple syrup, and it's delightful.
It's really good.
So I'm going to have to get up in a minute and go get these, but I've also got some alcoholic shooter chocolates that we're going to play with in this episode.
I'm really excited about this.
Woo, woo. It's time for the nerdy news. I only have one.
I have one.
It's Bridgerton.
I have 4.
Well,
shocker.
I've got the one. Bridgerton.
You're the one that has your finger on the pulse of the nerdy news.
That's true. You are way more in tune with the masses than we are.
I'm way more anal on Goodreads.
But Bridgerton Season 3 Part 2 comes out later this week. This episode is releasing on June 11th. That second half of Season 3 comes out June 13th. That's what I'll be
very
doing.
excited. And we're going to do a Regency romance episode about and with Bridgerton as well.
In a few weeks.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Have you seen the thing going around where they call the first guy like Lord Spoonington because he's like licking the spoon, and then second season is Lord Sniffington because he's always smelling her. And then the third one, that. Are you caught up?
Yes.
Okay. Then the third one is called Lord Fingerington.
Oh my gosh. Oh my.
Sadie, I was watching it with her in bed last night because I hadn't watched that final episode yet. And she's like, well, it's a little awkward to watch with my kid. But, you know, my almost, adult kid when it comes down to it. For the record, don't come at me.
Well, my adult kid came in when Anthony and his wife were getting it on. And
in the gazebo?
This was
in season 3.
It's season 3.
In bed.
Okay. Yeah,
inside,
it was just
in
like
bed.
they kind of. It's always the perfect timing, and she was like, "And I'm out."
I love too how it's like in that gazebo scene. It's the first time I've ever had sex, and he's like, "Put your knees to your chin."
She's like, "Yes, sir."
Okay, you're right. Yes, sir.
I got it.
Also, can I say we're going to talk about this more when we get to those episodes? But the person having the most sex in every season is Benedict.
Oh,
no
100%.
He is getting laid all the time.
All the time.
Right.
Which, I mean,
and every time you're like, oh, that's going to be who he ends up with. And he's like, nope, fucking someone else.
Yeah, it never is. Yep. Not yet.
Go watch Bridgerton, guys.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
We'll talk about it and we'll talk about it more in a couple of weeks.
And I will say, too, if you have not watched it yet and you're like, I don't do Regency romance, Mindy and I don't either. And we love
I don't really
that
either,
show.
honestly. But yeah, it's really good.
Right. I don't mind a little bit of Regency in the fantasy world.
Yeah.
I feel like it's got a very contemporary vibe, but set in a Regency.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
All the score is contemporary music.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just something about like the tropes and everything are very similar to like a contemporary romance, but it's just set in that time, and it's actually fun to watch.
It is.
You know, it's not like stuffy.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of.
Well, they're stuff in something.
They are stuff in something.
Some of them are. Mindy, what's your nerdy news?
So mine's really just an update. I think I had mentioned on an earlier episode that Emily Rath's Pucking Sweet, the third installment of her Jacksonville Rays series, it was supposed to be released on June 25th. So like now. And everybody was super excited. But she is now releasing it on September 24th. And first of all, I just want to say, like, anytime a release gets pushed back, there's always somebody who says, I just wanted to read it right now.
Don't be a shit.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. Because here's the thing. Like, most of the time it's because it's for a good I mean, almost all the time it's a good reason. But most of the time it's because the author wants to put out the very best version of what they want you to read. So, like, don't be a shithead about it. But this one actually is because she is just now starting, like, a hybrid publishing release. And so she wants to make sure that all her platforms get released at the same time. So you will be able to get Pucking Sweet from in the UK, in the US. You can get the audiobook and the ebook all on the same date.
Ooh.
So.
Yeah, so she's doing hybrid, trad pubbed, and indie pub, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited for her. She's had an amazing year.
Yeah, that's really great for her. Deb, you've got all the nerdy news.
If you have not listened to any of these episodes, or you are not on Bookstagram, you do not know that Leather and Lark just came out. It is, if you are a Book of the Month member, it is available in the box this month. You can add it on. So, Mindy, I don't know if you saw that or not.
I definitely added it on.
The other book that just came out is Fate of the Sun King by Nisha J. Tooley. This is the third installment of the steamy artifacts of, and I know I'm mispronouncing this, but Oreos. It's just how I say it in my head. And it journeys deeper into the glittering Fae world, where the main character puts both her life and her heart on the line in this enemies to lovers fantasy romance. But she's got some good steam. And yeah, she's really funny. I met her at a Polycon and just really cool person. The third book I want to tell you all about is Annie Blanc is Not Dead Yet. And this is by Molly Morris. It's her debut novel. And it's YA based in a small town where every 10 years someone is chosen to return from the dead.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm really, really excited about that. I actually have the audio arc for it right now, so I can't wait to listen to it. And then I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago when I said what I was reading, but Now Conjurers by Freddie Cloche just came out. It's about a boy who ends up dead after he and his witchcraft friends conjure up favors from this devil-type guy. And the problem is that he has died and then no one remembers him except for his friends, like he never existed.
Oh.
So, but it's a queer romance and very, very deep and very, very, very good. So I would highly recommend.
Oh, that's a different plot.
Yes.
Yeah, different kind of story.
I'm always looking for stories that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Well, and I told you guys, I think last episode, I'm kind of in like my body gore era. Yeah. And there's some of that in there too. So that was fun.
Good thing Leather and Lark is coming out.
I know. Talk about some body gore. I've heard she ruins pizza, so I'm glad I'm lactose intolerant. Yeah.
Those are the best foods.
That works for you, actually.
No ice cream, no pizza. She hasn't fucked up anything for me.
Why can't she just like ruin a kale salad instead of something good?
Right. She did repost something from me because I was scrolling through Instagram and there was an ad for cookies and cream, like vegan ice cream. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a teaser from Butcher and the Blackbird. And I was like, nope, just an ice cream commercial.
I feel like I missed an opportunity when I was in line waiting to get my book signed by her in Chicago. I thought I should have brought a pint, like an empty pint of cookies and cream ice cream for her to sign. Wouldn't that have been cool? Such a missed opportunity. I think she's going to be at another con that I'm going to, or we're going to eventually. And so that's what I'll do.
So let's get into the nerdy and dirty.
Can we get dirty first?
Always.
So as we go through this, I've got these alcoholic chocolate shooters. My daughter works for like this fancy like boutique candy store. So you have to actually be 21 to buy these, but I'm pretty sure you can get drunk off them. So Whitney, you'll be fine. So when you tell me what you're reading or watching or whatever, I'm going to hand you one that corresponds to the color of whatever your book cover is or whatever you're watching. So you'll have to tell me that.
Oh,
that's going to be important. Or just guess.
Okay.
Give it our best guess.
I think I remember what this one was.
Give me vibes.
But yeah. So let's talk about what we're reading. Who wants to go first? Mindy, you want to go first?
Sure. I just finished an arc by Tara Weiss. It's called Bridesmaid to Bride. And it was really fun. It was just a nice, quick rom-com. She goes back. So it's this girl she has a twin sister, and her twin sister's getting married, and she's taking care of her wedding. And her like old nemesis is coming back to be the best man, and it's all about their like, it's an enemies to lovers, like
fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I love an enemies to lover.
Yeah.
Enemy to lovers.
What color is the cover?
I believe it was pink.
Oh. And this is Grand Reserve, like tequila chocolate. Ooh. So I'm going to have you open.
So it goes with our drink.
It goes with the drink. Yeah. What are you reading, Whit?
I just finished.
I just have to say really quick. It's so cute. It looks like a little miniature bottle.
It does.
They are cute.
For people that are listening, if you go to our studio feed on YouTube, you'll be able to see what they look like.
They're very cute. I just finished an arc also from Jessica Cage. I Accidentally Summoned a Demon Boyfriend is the title of the book. And it was a wild
Tell them
ride.
what the first chapter is titled.
You open up to page 1. Chapter 1 is called Booty Juice. And within chapter 1, she is cleaning up. Unclear to me if it was butt sweat or poop stain, but she's cleaning. She's cleaning up something from somebody's butt off of the seat of her car, and then she also summons the demon. Is drunk and thinks that she's dreaming and like has wild, crazy sex all night long, but thinks that she's dreaming. Like that is chapter 1.
I've never had a dream that good.
That is chapter 1, and so then you're like, it sets the tone for the rest of the book. But it was really fun. It was a fun wild ride. Monster romance.
My chocolate is really, really good.
Is it good? Is it a whiskey one like I thought, or what is it?
It's tequila.
It's tequila. Whitney, I already know what cover, what color the cover is for you. So this is purple, and I think it's like a vanilla rum chocolate. Ooh. So I'm going to give that to you. And then I just finished Casey McQuiston's arc, who is the person who wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue. The book is called The Pairing. Unfortunately, it does not come out until August 5th, so it's a little bit of a ways away. But I did give it 5 stars. It was really, really, really amazing. And that book kind of has like an orangey color, so I'm going to choose orange liqueur chocolate, which I'm very excited about.
I love orange and chocolate together.
I do too. And then I'm finishing up the Rivalry of Hearts arc by Tessanja Odette. We got sent that from the Nerd Fam, which was super duper awesome of them. And it's really fun. It's set in like a fae world, but they're on book tours together and they're having a who can hook up the most contest, which is interesting because that's what happens in The Pairing too. Casey McQuiston's book. Yeah. So I'm going to have my little orange chocolate here. I'm very excited.
I know. I just got mine unwrapped. I felt kind of dumb.
Whitney's also the person when she opens gifts, like slowly undoes the tape and all that. How is it?
It's good.
Is it good?
Yeah, it is. I didn't think I would like it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I like boozy chocolate because it makes it more tangy.
I'm not usually a shots kind of girl, but within chocolate,
it works.
It works. Yeah, that's good.
Ooh, this is a lot. It's
Wait,
good though.
What was your alcohol?
How do you pronounce it? Cointreau. Control.
I would have said Cointreau.
It's a orange liqueur.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, do you want me to go since you're chewing?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we talk about what we're watching? And I can go first since I'm not in the middle of chewing. So I sent this to you guys, but I really want some listeners to send in if they've heard about this. So I sent the two of you this video. It's called Twilight Tip Nails. And apparently there is something going around on TikTok where women are coloring their nails the color of their man's penis.
Listen, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, but yuck.
So in this video, though, she talks about how her boyfriend is Edward Cullen, so she has like silver sparkly nails, and that's the color of his dick, which I thought was so funny.
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious.
So funny. But then I started watching Santa Clarita Diet with my daughter, which
I love that
came
show.
on Netflix a couple years ago, and they ended it very abruptly, which was a bummer.
It got canceled.
It is so funny. If you've not ever watched that, go watch it. Drew Barrymore is a zombie all of a sudden with the crazy sex drive and just keeps eating people, which is hilarious. She eats Nathan Fillion in the very first episode.
Yeah.
So,
well, Timothy Oliphant is her husband, and he's like, we're going to work this out.
We're watching it last night, and Sadie goes, oh my God, this is how Dad would react. She's like, honey, we'll get you someone to eat. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll take care of you.
There's this scene where they have cut up Nathan Fillion's body and they're taking it to the desert to dump it. And she can't, it's like in a Rubbermaid bin and she can't find the lid. And so they wrap saran wrap over it. And of course it spills and she goes, don't bring up the fucking lid right now. Don't bring it up. And Sadie looks at me and goes, oh my God, that's so you and Dad.
Yeah, that is a really good show.
That's awesome.
We were really bummed when that got canceled too. What are you watching, Mindy?
Mine could also be my nerdiest thing of the week. It's not, but it could be. I went down a complete rabbit hole. Somebody on Facebook, a friend of mine, posted, do you remember this cartoon from the 80s? And it was Kid Video. I don't know if either of you all.
I don't remember that.
So it was this weird show where they're in a band, okay? And like the opening credits, they're all like getting together and they go to the garage to do the band stuff. And then all of a sudden this like cartoon evil guy is like, ha ha ha, I'm going to take you to my weird land. And then they become cartoons. And
what's he like?
So they go and they like have all these adventures as cartoons, but then they also at the end would always play like a video,
play a song.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. It was an original song, and that was their band. And I remember just loving the show so much. So I went on this nostalgia run, looked on YouTube. They're all on there. The first one actually has like 80s commercials interspersed in between it, which was hysterical. And then I'm looking, of course, it's like the worst show ever. Like, it's so terrible. Like, it's so bad.
It doesn't hold up, huh?
No, but it gave me, a little bit of nostalgia.
The feels, yeah.
It was fun. I watched a few episodes. I'm not going to watch the whole thing.
I like watching stuff like that sometimes where I'm like, I know this is going to be bad, but it takes me back to my childhood.
It had like, one of the commercials was like a My Little Pony shower.
That's weird.
It was very odd.
That's really weird.
Like they're in the shower together?
Like it was like a small shower. Like you could hook it up to water and then like
for the
I had a Barbie pool like that you could like hook it up to water.
Very similar to
and
that.
then like, of course, my mom's all pissed off because I'm getting like water everywhere. And I'm like, she's not done in the bath.
Let me finish. That's how my daughter would be. Well, I did not watch anything that fun. Well, it was fun for me because I like true crime kind of stuff, but it was the Ashley Madison documentary on Netflix. It's called...
I've been seeing that.
I liked it. There's only 3 episodes. It's called Ashley Madison, Sex, Lies, and Scandal, which it's basically about a little bit about Ashley Madison and how it kind of became so well known and successful, and then really more about when it got hacked and all the users' private information came out, and they focused on a couple of different couples that... one guy was like, I only signed up for it. I didn't actually do anything. And then was like, actually, yeah, I did do stuff. Which, like...
You don't say.
Yeah, like, obviously. But it was really interesting. I like that kind of stuff. So, I remember Ashley Madison because of the 19 Kids and Counting horrible...
Oh, the Duggars.
Yeah, the son who's, like, the worst human being on the planet. He was
Josh,
on... He was outed as being on Ashley Madison, so...
He was just looking at it for a friend.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Don't worry about it.
It was just a joke at a bachelor party or something.
Right, I just wanted to see what it was all about.
The excuses were something else.
I don't know who sent all those messages.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Someone must have hacked me.
What's really funny is that they charged men, like you had to buy credits and use credits to be able to like respond to messages and send people messages. But they had bots that they had like thousands and thousands of fake women profiles. And so they were having these men, real men, pay money to be able to send messages to bots.
Oh my God.
It's so sad. Like, it's
don't
sad,
but
also,
don't cheat on your significant other, assholes.
Hello. But anyway, I thought that was good. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that specific detail quite a bit. So that kind of goes into what I'm listening to also, because I haven't really been listening to anything fun except for random true crime podcasts, which Crime Junkie has Crime Junkie Survived episodes, which I really, really love because the people survived whatever the situation is.
It's not all death and dismemberment.
It's not all. Well, the one particular episode that I linked for the show notes is a little bit about dismemberment, except not even a little bit. It's a lot about dismemberment.
They talk about dismemberment a lot.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite I survived type stories. It's this like young girl who, back in the 70s went hitchhiking, and this man, attacked her and sexually assaulted her and literally hacked her arms off and like left her for dead. And she had to literally crawl like out of a ditch. And
she survived.
She survived. It is the craziest story you have ever heard in your life. And she ended up going to his trial and like sitting on the witness stand and telling her story, which a lot of victims, especially of really, really awful trauma like that, don't do that, right? It's a really amazing story, but I highly recommend the podcast.
I know that the Crime Junkie logo has some white in it, so you're getting a cognac not Kanye, cognac. Base liqueur.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either. I think is it a scotch? God, we are nerds. I'm like, vodka, tequila, bourbon.
I don't know, but I bet it's going to make me go, ooh.
I think it's like a...
You thought the last one was going to, too, so just go for it. Well,
the last one was vanilla, though.
I'm still in a little bit of an audiobook slump. I've still been DNFing audiobooks, but I did get Allie Hazelwood's arc, her new one coming out called Not in Love, and I'm going to start that. And I mean, surely I'm going to be able to get through that, right? And I know it has a pink cover, so I just found a coordinating color because there's no pink liqueurs in here. So I also have a cognac one, just so you know.
All right, we're in it together.
But for listeners, I really need some recommendations on like some ghost story, paranormal story podcasts because, and this is no offense, doing a podcast is hard work. So I want to say that out loud. You all, it is like a part-time / full-time job. So I'm not going to say which of these I did not enjoy, but I found 2 and both of them talk like this. And they were like, and then she went in the woods. And I'm like, I just want them to tell the story. Yeah, right. How is that, Whitney? Are you struggling?
It had a kick to it that I was not ready for. But the chocolate does help.
Okay, good. So if anyone has any good ghost story, paranormal story podcasts that they want to recommend, I would love that. I did find one where the guy has the actual people come on and tell their story, and that makes it really intriguing. Cool. So I have enjoyed that one. I'll link it in the show notes. I'm sorry, I can't remember what it's called.
So I'm still listening to Dreadful, which has a red cover. So
Southern Comfort.
This is going to be fun. Super fun. But yeah, Dreadful. And it's not dreadful. It's actually quite delightful. I've laughed out loud.
What's it about?
So it's the one where the evil overlord wakes up, but he doesn't have any of his memories. And he's like part of some big scheme with these other evil overlords, but he doesn't know what it is. So he's like trying to find out, and he's got like all these goblins working for him, and he's like trying to be good now. I don't know. It's really funny.
All right. Eat your Southern Comfort chocolate, and you like it.
Well, good. While you are getting your chocolates opened, I can go ahead and share what I'm loving because I have two things. One of them is very random. The not random one, the Trope Trollop. Shout out to Trope Trollop on Instagram.
Which, by the way, she messaged me and she goes, okay, so kind of shocked to hear my name on the podcast because I was like, oh my God, I'm such a stalker. And then she wrote back, but I don't care because you're my people. And
yeah,
I was like,
100%.
I was like, please keep messaging us because we love it so much.
She was reading The Bonds That Tie and was sending me like play-by-play messages. And she was like, sorry, I'll stop messaging you. And I was like, don't you dare. I want to know everything. And
she also started watching
that.
Supernatural.
She did. Oh, shout out to the Trope Trollop.
Yep.
But I really enjoyed that a lot. About her. And the random thing that I'm loving, this is skincare. I'm like really into skincare, and I've been using the retinol complex serum by Naturium, which is a brand you can get at Target. And I've just really been enjoying it for retinol. If you need one, check them out.
I'll tell you what I'm not loving.
That
cognac
chocolate
tastes like rubbing alcohol.
I'm telling you.
I'm not a fan.
There's a kick that I was not prepared for.
I'm kind of loving my Southern Comfort.
Well, good.
Well, good. I think cheap whiskey like bourbon balls are super delicious because it makes it kind of more salty and tangy, but not a fan of the rubbing alcohol one. No, that was not for me.
Well, what are you guys loving?
Well, I do these little ACOTAR bookcases that I absolutely love, and I've been working on a From Blood and Ash one, but I can't get it just right. You know how sometimes when you're working on a project and you're like, that's it, I finally got it. I'm not there yet. But I did start making a paranormal bookcase that like the front of it has like vampire fangs on it, and then a fantasy one that's got like a big gold dragon on the side. And I was going to make them and take them to Imaginarium to put on our table because I thought they'd be so cool. And then we had a storm and I lost power for 5 days, so I didn't. But they're looking really, really cute. But I ran out of time. So I lost like 4 days in my studio, which really sucked. I was running the generator to my embroidery machine because I had an order that was due and I don't let my customers down. But it sucked really, really bad.
I bet.
Yeah, we moved into a newer neighborhood and we just lose power all the time. It's awesome.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm not loving that. But I am loving
that's the opposite.
I was going to say
yeah. I don't think they're going to be done by the time this episode goes up because we're going to Imaginarium this week.
Yeah.
Which will be fun, and we will be loving that as well.
We will definitely be loving that. I'm just loving summer food. Like I made a nice tortellini pasta salad, and Darren's been making smoothies. It's just like I really love like fresh, cool summer foods, and that's just what I've been loving.
The seasonal eats.
Yes.
I love that too. That's a good one. But mine is like fudgesicles.
I like those too.
Well, guys, now it's time to get into our nerdiest topic, which I'm really excited about because I think we all have a lot of things to say about this.
And they're all different.
And they're all, I think they might all be different. So we're going to talk about The Idea of You. We're going to talk about the book. We're also going to talk about the movie starring Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galitzine.
Galitzine. It's like a magazine. That's how Anne Hathaway pronounced. She said, "Oh, you think magazine? It's Galitzine."
Oh, well, I will know how to pronounce it now. Thank you, Deb and
Actually,
Anne
it was Anne. I did not do it.
Thanks, Annie. So we're going to talk about that movie just came out within the last month.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say one thing first because I feel like everything else that I say will make more sense once we start talking about it. I am going to say that to me, the book and the movie are two completely different stories.
Kind of,
yeah.
I'm going to say...
I enjoyed the movie more having read the book, though.
I'm going to say, for me, and then I'll get more into this as we talk through these different questions, but I think the book is a story about sacrificing self. And I think the movie...
Trying not to lose yourself.
I think the movie is about a dream deferred.
Or a love affair.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, the dream is the love affair.
Yeah,
but it's a dream she's just putting off for a time. But I'm going to say that at the beginning, and then let's get into it, because I know we all have a lot of things to say.
Okay, first of all, who liked the book?
Me.
5 stars.
I love it.
I hated this book. 2 stars.
We're off to a strong start.
All right.
You know what, though? That's why there's 3 of us. We need...
So, and then I just want to throw out there, and then who liked the movie?
I did like the movie.
I liked the movie.
I didn't love the movie either.
I mean, the book was better, but I mean, it typically is. But to your point, Whitney, they're really not the same.
Yeah.
They're not the same story.
I feel like I might have enjoyed the movie better had I watched it first.
Interesting. Okay.
But I definitely think the book was better. I don't think the movie was better than the book on any level, but
so
I think
how many
I would have.
Stars did the movie get?
I didn't star the movie. No, I think I would have enjoyed the movie more had I not read the book yet.
Mindy wrote me and she's like, "Am I reading the same book as you?"
I seriously,
I will say too, I think this is a book that you should listen to on audio. I thoroughly enjoyed it on audio.
But the reasons I hated it are not going to be fixed by audio.
Okay, sure. I think also time and place and, kind of your mental state and all of that really can change how you feel about a book at a time.
Definitely.
So,
that's true too. Yeah. Well, so let's kind of talk through our questions that we have in our notes, ladies. So, Mindy, is there anything you did like more about the book versus the movie? Since you didn't really like either one.
Okay, actually, the one thing I really did like about the book was the commentary on the double standard of the age gap for men and women. I did find that, like, it sucked. Like, it pissed me off. But, like...
Yeah, because
it was realistic.
Her husband left her for a 30-year-old.
Yeah, the husband... Don't even get me started. He's a douche.
He's a way bigger douche in the movie, which
That's
I love.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I agree.
The things that I liked the most about the book are all the things that they either took out or changed for the movie.
Honestly, I thought it was very well written. It was, for me, I don't know if it just triggered me or something, but I'm getting ready to be an empty nester, and I've been like struggling with the fact that I'm not sad about it. Right? And so, first of all, it was like there was this whole build up to the end, and you knew it was going to end that way, but there was zero satisfaction after. And it really, the abrupt ending just, I don't know. I don't have to have an HEA necessarily, but I need a little hope. And it was just like cut off.
It was bleak.
I think that's why I liked it so much, though, because that really probably is how it would have ended.
I mean, yes, but I don't know. Also, the chemistry for me wasn't super believable. And everything.
I think, again, that's where the audio would have come in.
Are you talking about the book specifically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, both of them. And then everything she said to Hayes about not quitting the band because he'll resent her also applies to her. She will resent her daughter. To me, I feel like this is kind of a hot take, and I may get shit for it, but if you find the love of your life, I'm sorry, but the kid's a kid. Like, deal with the shit. Like, I feel like there are other ways to deal with that. And I will say the 11-year-old maybe a little bit more difficult to handle than the 17-year-old. But like in the movie where she's 17, I'm like, girl, that kid's not even going to be with you in 2 years. Like that pissed me off. I'm like, why are you quitting because of her?
That is where, for me, that the age changes in the movie is, to me, what makes them completely. It's a completely different story, because not only did they age up the daughter, they aged up Hayes too. Yeah. He's 24
that was one
instead
of the things
of 20.
I liked in the movie, though.
Well, I mean,
24 and 20 are very different from each other.
Absolutely.
Yes, but it was the changing. Technically, I guess their age is still kind of the same distance, the 17-year-old daughter and the 24-year-old man, but that doesn't feel the same as you having a 13-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old boyfriend, right? Like the dynamics of those of Solenne's. That wasn't how I said it in my head when I read the book, so I have to think before I say her name. But it changes the dynamic of her relationship with both of those people when you age them up. Right?
Well, and I do wonder if in the movie, if she had been 13, if it would have felt bratty.
Maybe.
I wonder if that's why they changed it a little bit.
I think it felt bratty coming from the 17-year-old, because they kept some of the same beats of stuff that the daughter deals with. Yeah. But in the book, you're talking about a 13-year-old. And in the movie, she's a 17-year-old, but she's doing and saying the exact things that the 13-year-old character was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, which for me did come off more bratty, because I'm like, okay, you're acting like a 13-year-old, which I know that's where the source material is. Like, I understand what you guys are doing with the movie, but you didn't make her 13, so don't have her do these 13-year-old things.
But
you know what I mean?
Wouldn't have been a reason for her to stop if she wasn't acting like that, which again, I still feel like is like, I get like the kid was getting bullied, and nobody wants to have their kid bullied, but kids are going to get bullied.
And to feel like it's your fault specifically. That's the piece that I'm like, I understand that part of it.
I do, and I don't. I feel like, I'm going to sacrifice a lot for my kids, and I have sacrificed a lot for my kids, but the love of my life, I don't know that I would, to be honest with you. And again, that's where I feel like I'm going to get some hate.
No, I feel that same way. Yeah. Honestly, I feel that same way.
Your kid can get on board because they don't rule the world for you.
And they're not going to be with those people forever, and they're not going to, they're going to learn how to deal with shit that they need to learn how to deal with.
I will say, for me, though, the thing that I kind of agree with in the book that happened that kind of is her breaking point is that kid in her class telling her, hey, I turn 18 next month. Is your mom available?
Yeah, that was rough.
And that was her breaking point. And for me, as a mom of a kid who's 17, I'm like, okay, I might feel really differently about it.
Right.
But in the book, she could have been like she did in the movie, in 5 years, let's see where we're at. Right? I kept waiting for that to happen.
Exactly.
And I'm so glad they did that in the movie.
I wish that they had an epilogue like that in the book, because that's my whole thing. The book for me is not about Solène and Hayes. It is about Solenne's relationship with herself and who she thinks she is / is supposed to be as a business owner, as an artist, as a girlfriend, as a mom, as
agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not really about her and him. It's about her and her relationship with herself and how she thinks that she's supposed to behave and the choices she thinks she's supposed to make. But that kind of all got washed away in the movie a little bit.
It did, and that's what I was going to say that I like more about the book. So almost verbatim. Solène puts herself first in the book. Solène has tons of boundaries in the book, whereas in the movie it kind of looks like she's like, I'm just going to go on this summer love affair with this guy. And I feel like in the book they're together for like a year. It feels like much longer.
Well, because they see each other so infrequently for so many months.
So Solène's boundaries, though, that don't come up in the movie that I think are very, very important is, number one, she makes him use condoms up until a certain point that she knows that he is 100% only with her. She only visits when it works for her work schedule. She does not just like send her kid to summer camp and she's like, well, fuck my life. He just bought all the art in my gallery, which I also didn't like because that didn't happen in the book.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Another thing I really loved more about the book is that Hayes has a sexual history that makes him feel older and more worldly that also causes a lot of strife within their relationship.
Yeah.
Because in the book, he just seems like a kid that's kind of like bouncing around. But in the movie, in the book, he actually has had a relationship with a married woman.
Yep.
Like, you know, all these things have happened that make him feel older, but then also Celine's like, I don't know if I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
in the book, he has a history of dating older women.
Right.
And so no one in his life, inner circle, thinks it's weird that he's like, with her.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the final thing I really liked about the book versus the movie was the level of spice in the book. There was some good spicing happening in that book. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was good.
Although I will say in the movie, that very first scene where they hook up, oh my gosh.
In the hotel. Hotel. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
and he like covers her mouth. I was like, you do you. Christ.
I did enjoy the spice. And it's so funny, like hearing you talk about these things. I did enjoy those things, but like it got overshadowed for me. And going back to what you were saying, Whitney, about how the book is really more about her journey and her like finding herself. That's what also made the ending so shitty for me, is because the ending was all about her ending with Hayes. I would have loved to have seen an epilogue. I don't even care if they didn't get together necessarily, but I would have loved an epilogue where she's
each other or something,
or that she was just living her best life,
that she was okay,
that she was good,
that she was healing.
Yeah, like I just the abrupt ending, it ruined it for me. It really did.
It does give the image for me that she is going through the motions of her day-to-day life, being a good mom to her daughter, but being so deeply lonely and so unhappy, which you don't want for her. Right. You know,
again, I think the reason I liked it is because that is probably what would have happened.
Yeah.
I think that's why it resonated with me so much. I think the other thing too, for me, is I am her age, right? I have kids, her daughter's age, right? So I think for me, it felt very like personal almost.
Like more of a personal connection.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. All the things that I really loved about the book were the things that they changed about the movie. And so then I was like, okay, it reminded me, I know I brought this up a couple weeks ago, I think, when I had to do that paper about the Scarlet Letter. And I talked about how I really hated the Scarlet Letter movie with Demi Moore because it was called the Scarlet Letter, but it was like a completely different. That's kind of how I felt about the idea.
That was my sexual awakening with Gary Oldham.
I mean, that's kind of how I feel about this. Like, maybe 20 minutes into the movie, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to have to just think of this as a completely separate thing. Because it was. And I enjoyed the movie and I still enjoyed that story. However, I do feel like, and part of this is just because it's a movie and they're constrained with their time and you can only do so much.
Longer, though.
It could have been longer, but they didn't take the time for me to delve into the emotional connection of the two. It very much came across to me as like, I'm just going to sex this kid up.
Yeah.
My summer.
I was okay
with
it.
But their relation, like part of the book is that she is concerned that people are going to think that she's just sexing this kid up.
And she only says it once in the movie, but she says it a whole bunch of times in the book.
Right. Like that's a big part of her paranoia and self-consciousness, right? And it is much deeper than that. They have an actual connection. It is an actual relationship. And they didn't really delve into that in the movie.
Yeah.
Can I give you some stats I found about the actual movie? They're like actual stats. So it gets an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a very good score
really good
for Rotten Tomatoes. Nearly 50 million people watched it in 2 weeks, making it the #1 rom-com debut for Amazon MGM, which good for them.
Wow.
Although I would not call this a rom-com.
No,
and it is the most watched trailer ever for a streaming movie.
Oh wow. Good for them.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
I mean they should be pretty proud of that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Right?
I will also say this. One thing that really bothered me at the beginning of the movie, because I was bewildered at the beginning of the movie, like, oh, okay. I thought the daughter was like 25, first of all, before they straight up said like she's going to be a senior in high school.
Right.
I was like, oh, they said that at like 30 minutes in or something.
Right.
And I was like, that girl is in her 20s, 1,000%.
Yeah.
There's no way. So I was like, what is happening? But anyway, they completely changed the meet cute of these two characters because they aged up the daughter, right?
Right.
Which made sense because they aged up the daughter. Okay. But the idea that this accomplished, intelligent, beautiful woman would go into a pop star's personal trailer and think, yeah, this is the porta potty for everyone.
Okay, no, I do find that really believable and I'll tell you why.
I thought that was crazy.
So we have had gala events that are on like personal property from my work, and they get these executive restrooms that look like that. So you go in.
On the inside, they look like that?
Yeah. You go in, they're very, very nice. It does not, because I mean, most of the time when you go in those trailers to go to the bathroom, it is like a fucking porta potty in there.
Yes.
Right?
With like the toilet flushes with the pedal.
Right. No, these executive bathrooms have actual water that runs, like there is an actual sink. So for me, those do actually exist. So when she did that, I was like, oh, she thinks, because she was going to the VIP bathroom.
I guess. So, see, I'm just not fancy enough to experience those kinds of bathrooms, I guess. Because I was like, I would
Whitney
never.
just pisses in a field.
Yeah, I would have a Barstown. I would never walk into a fancy trailer and be like, yeah, the public bathroom for everyone.
Oh,
like,
no, I totally found that.
Oh, I was like, I'm out on this meet cute. And then she
didn't even think
he just like, I did think it was funny that he was just like, well, I guess I'm going to listen to this lady pee in my bathroom.
I did think that was really funny that he just sat there.
I loved the interaction.
Yeah, that first like, hi. I was like, oh.
He was like, well, I guess I'm just going to let this happen. That did make me laugh.
I admit, Mindy, I think that you disagree with this, but I do think that they had really good on-screen chemistry. Like, especially when he kisses her the first time, there is definitely a lot of heat there. And he was actually asked in an interview who he's had the best on-screen chemistry with, and he said Anne Hathaway. But he was in that Cinderella movie with Camilla Cabello, and I guess that she did not like that and said something publicly like, oh, I thought we had pretty good chemistry. And I'm like, really?
That's unnecessary.
Get over yourself.
Yeah.
Also, Anne Hathaway is a beautiful 40-year-old woman who is refined. And the reason maybe he didn't have chemistry with you is because you say shit like that. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Here's something up that you just reminded me. Something else that I really did not like that they did in the movie that I'm almost positive they did not do in the book is when they were playing up her self-consciousness compared to these like young girls like hanging around the band, and she comes out to the pool completely covered from like neck to toe,
a denim like
an overcoat or something, and then she kept it on the whole time, and I was like, but that no, because part of this is he brings out a confidence in her,
right?
You know,
I didn't like
that.
I do remember in the book there's a little bit of her thinking that, but she does not. But
she doesn't.
Herself up.
Yeah, she doesn't actually. She has the self-consciousness, and so I don't know if that was just their way of.
Well, in the book too, she actually has a conversation with some of them, and like a real conversation. She gets to know the one girlfriend that doesn't end up being a girlfriend.
Yeah, she was not. She was
one
just
thing
a groupie.
I really liked, and I'm thinking of that scene, and this is what made me think of it. Oliver in the book was so fucking cringy and such a horrible person. And I was really kind of glad they left that out of the movie, because for the book, it made a lot of sense. It added another depth of plot. But I think in the movie, if they had done it, it would have made it icky.
It would have been too confusing too, because in the book, that storyline ultimately doesn't go anywhere.
That's what I was going to say. I think they could have left it out of the book.
It's it's like a character development thing, but it doesn't have any like effect on the plot overall. You know what I mean?
Okay, right. Are we supposed to think that Oliver's in love with Hayes?
No.
Okay, because that is exactly what I got. I got that.
Oh wait, no, you're right.
Yeah, you are.
You're right. That's right.
I think you are. Yeah.
But then he's fine after their fight, and he just goes after the translator. Like, I don't know, that whole side thing I didn't care for. It was just out of left field to me.
Yeah, I do think that we were supposed to get that subtext, but ultimately she doesn't do anything with it in the book other than to like complicate their relationship.
There's a whole I think in the book it needed to be more believable why he would just give up the band too, because he says that a few times. Yeah. And I think that in particular is one of the reasons is like the continued strife through him, because you're supposed to make the assumption that Oliver has fucked other women that he was dating while he was dating them. And so I think that it's supposed to add this level of like, well, why would he just give it up for her? Well, things aren't actually going that well.
Yeah. Well, and that was another change in the movie that actually made him not quitting the band make no sense to me at all, because in the book the group is his passion project and his brainchild, and in the movie he's like, I just tried out for something and I made it, and he like did not care about it at all.
I think it would have added some depth to his movie character if they had left that in.
I don't know why they only
needed that one scene for it to be important. That's it.
That's why I don't know why they made that change, because I think it takes away from
how
the choice,
serious the band is.
And the choice to break up with her or to not be together. Like you don't care about this band, so why not just you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't make sense.
So the ending for both. Mindy, I know you did not like the ending to the book. I did like the ending to the book, but I also really liked the ending of the movie.
Me too.
When I was listening to audio, I was like, so where's the epilogue? Like, what's going to happen? And so them doing that in the movie really just like made my night. When I've watched this movie twice, by the way.
And what I loved about it too, because that is the one thing I really, really liked more about the movie than the book.
Yeah.
Is that they at least entertained that idea that they could be together after a few more years. But what I loved about the way they did it, it wasn't like, and they lived happily ever after. It was like, it was that sort of, they ended it with that hopefulness. And that's what I missed in the book.
They're at least going to still have a connection to each other, right? They're not going to never see each other again, which in the book, it very much is like, oh no, she's unhappy forever. I
bawled my eyes out.
Me too.
Because I felt like both of them are going to be like.
I fucking threw my Kindle.
Here's the thing though. The reason I bawled my eyes out is because I felt like you said, it was like the love of their life. And like, you can't replace that feeling. If that is your person, you cannot replace that. And you said something that really stuck with me, Whitney, as we were kind of texting back and forth about this. You said that you didn't like that Solène kept telling him, like, you're so young and you're not going to feel this way later. And you're like, but I met my husband at that age and I still feel that way. Like, you know what I mean? And
we were 20.
Right. I agree with that. And I get that she's not 20, but he doesn't act like a little kid. Now, again, I do wish in the book he had been 24. I liked that a lot better because then in the epilogue he was 29, right? And so that just, it makes it, but again, we read these age gap romances all the time with the guy that's in his 40s and a girl in her 20s, and no one ever says shit about it.
Right.
The age gap, which I thought might bother me, didn't bother me at all.
It didn't bother me
100% at all. And in both of them, I feel like in the book, he came across as more of an old soul than he did in the movie, but I felt like both of them were believable as far as the age gap was. That didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, it didn't bother me either. She keeps saying to him, like, well, you're going to change your mind. I feel like she is jaded by her divorce because her husband changed his mind. You know what I mean?
Something I did not say that I really loved in the movie, because in the book, the woman that he leaves, her husband, Solène's husband leaves her for, she's 30. She ends up pregnant. They end up getting married, right? Which causes a whole other pivotal plot point in the book. In the movie, Eva leaves him because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And I love when she looks at Solène and she's like, would you want to grab drinks sometimes? And Solène goes, no. And Eva goes, yeah. It just walks off.
Like, fair enough.
I was like, because I think too, like, she's supposed to be so understanding because he's in love and all this shit. And like, she does not have to be understanding. He cheated on her with that woman.
It's who she thinks she's supposed to be. Right. That she's making all these choices for who she thinks she is or who she's supposed to be.
Right.
And she hurts herself in the process with her ex-husband and with Hayes.
Right.
Because of what she thinks she's supposed to do.
Well, what was your all's favorite part in both? That's what I'm really interested in.
I really like the book a lot. My favorite part, I like all the spicy stuff.
I do too. And I will say it's not so much like this in the movie, but the angst and the slow burn in the book is amazing. And if I hadn't read the book, you get none of that in the movie.
Right. Yes.
And so like, I think that because she doesn't have the boundaries in the movie and they just kind of get right down to it, it does make her look like a cougar. Yeah. Whereas again, and I'm not saying that as a negative because I don't like that word. There's nothing wrong with a woman being older than a man. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Having said that, that angst of like, she kept saying like, it's just lunch, Hayes, or like, I'm not letting you fuck me without a condom, Hayes. Like there's all this slow burn and like they really have a relationship. Like you said.
I think that I like a slow burn and I did like a lot of the angst, but I felt like it went on a little too long and it was a little too overdramatic. I felt like it was basically like, I'm too old for you, but I love you. Okay. And then you like rinse and repeat and it just kept going on like that. And I'm like,
I'll let him rinse and repeat me.
I mean, like 2 or 3 times. Okay. But it was literally like every time.
Can I have it more than 2 or 3 times?
Yes, you can. You can have it all.
There's a scene in the book. I can't remember exactly which meeting it is, but it's one of the early ones. But she has this whole scene where she describes him touching like her leg and her knee and how he like slowly moves up her thighs and stuff. I mean, I just thought it was really talking about the tension and the angst and stuff. Like it was really well written, slow burn of like, it's a fairly it starts off at least as a fairly innocent touch of like on your shin or something, like, you know, like, oh, my ankle, you know, but the way she writes it, you're like, ooh, my ankle, to brush it again with your fingertips, you know, like, I did like that.
I mean, he definitely in both the book and the movie seems like he knows how to touch a woman.
Absolutely.
The writer did a very good job with that.
You know what I think my favorite part of the movie is that he sang all those songs. That's him singing.
It is,
yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
I was like, they wrote songs and did a whole music video for this movie.
They did. Let's talk about the band August Rush, because I also have some stats about them too. So
August Moon.
I'm sorry. August Rush is a movie that's really amazing. It has
I put August Rush.
Carrie Russell.
Carrie Russell and anyway,
Jonathan Rhys-Meyers.
Yes, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. He and her in this movie have amazing chemistry. It's called August Rush. It's really, really good. It's about music, and they have like an orphaned little boy that they've given up for adoption and everything. Really, really good. Anyway, August Moon, whenever this movie came out a couple weeks ago, actually debuted on 3 Billboard charts.
Oh my gosh. So
number 7 on the Heat Seekers albums, number 11 on soundtrack albums, and number 35 on emerging artists.
Well, good for them.
I know, right? Good job, August Moon.
Yeah.
It's like the Monkees.
Yeah, the songs were catchy.
They were very catchy.
Yeah, and I looked it up and I was like, ooh, he can sing, which makes him more attractive.
Yeah, it's not making you less hot, buddy.
I know,
See,
right? It's just not. What does it for you?
It's not my kind of music. It just isn't us. And now I might listen to Emo Rory's solo album.
Emo Rory's. Well, that answers the question. So you wouldn't listen to that. I never really listened to boy bands. I think I'm just maybe like 2 or 3 years too old for that, but I was always a chick rock girl. I still am. But like you said, the songs are very catchy and they have been stuck in my head several times.
I would listen to it. I did listen to it. Yeah.
I made Whitney an NSYNC book cover, if that tells you anything. So
I still listen to my boy bands.
Yeah.
So.
And here's the thing. I did put one of their, like, the songs that he sings. Maybe it's like at the end in the credits or something. I did put it in my favorites list because it's a very beautiful song. Mm-hmm. I forget what it's called. Sorry.
I think it's called The Idea. It might be The Idea of You or something.
Yeah.
I think it is.
It's quite good. He's got quite the voice.
Yeah. It was good.
I'll have to go back and listen because I don't know if I was just so pissed off that it didn't like it was forgettable to me, but maybe I would enjoy it. I don't know.
I mean, they are very catchy songs.
They are very.
I couldn't tell you.
They're very poppy though. So
can you imagine them being like, okay, we're going to make this movie? Well, and it almost reminds me of That Thing You Do.
Yep.
Right. Those were songs that got very popular on the radio.
Yeah.
Also, like the Cup song with Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
Right? It's all the same thing. But can you imagine just singing on the song and then it's like, oh, we're on the Billboard charts. Oh, and then I love that they got to make a music video too. How fun is that?
That made me laugh a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so much like music department is not the word that I want.
The music department. It's so much music department work, music business, I think is what I'm trying to say. For a movie, right? For actors. Mindy, did you like the casting?
I adore Anne Hathaway.
Good and everything.
Well, except for one day I didn't like her in that.
I've never seen that.
But actually, I didn't mind her in that. It was just that I didn't like the adaptation of that movie. But no, I adore Anne Hathaway. And I didn't dislike Nicholas Galitzine, but I personally don't find him super attractive. I don't know what it is. I feel like he looks like a douchey frat boy, and I just can't.
See, I would be feeling like that if they had done Timothée Chalamet. Like
right,
I would feel the exact same way because it's just not everybody is for everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I can see the appeal. I'm not saying I don't think he's ugly by any means. He's just not personally my type.
My notes were Anne Hathaway was perfect, all caps.
Yeah, she was good.
Nick Galitzine was perfect, except I wish they had dressed him like the book did. So he was always kind of the front runner, like bad boy, kind of like the black skinny jeans and the boots and like
I did like how
the
they
leather
each
jacket
had their own he was the swagger. And
I think also in the movie it would have made him feel older.
Yeah,
because he was dressing very 19-year-old LA. I felt like the cargo pants and the big fluffy cardigan and all that shit. And our friend Holly has some serious problems with the way they dressed him in the movie. She's so pissed off about it.
Well, it's kind of the same thing they did with the daughter. Like, we're going to age you up, but we're still going to have you do the things that the 20-year-old in the book does.
Because the thing is, and also skinny jeans, black boots, that is my kind of guy, too. So I was missing
my type.
That's my type, baby. Yeah, so I thought the casting was really, really good. The husband was great casting.
I really liked everybody casting wise except for the daughter, because she looks like she's 25 years old.
She does. I also loved the addition of the male friend. Yeah. He was hysterical.
What did he say? Like, hi, I'm a student council treasurer over at blah, blah, blah high school.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I guess she's not 25, but I still wasn't sure how old she was at that point.
Yes. That actor was perfect.
Yeah.
I liked that addition.
I did too, actually. I liked everybody except the daughter. I liked everybody except the daughter. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about with those?
I liked it. I liked
them both too. I just wish they were the same story.
Right. Book 5 stars, movie 3.5, 4 stars. I mean, I watched it twice. I watched it twice, and I'll probably watch it again.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Mindy, you can keep yours to yourself. Negative 27 stars.
I gave the book 2 stars. I mean, I'd probably give them the movie 2 stars too. It just didn't interest me, and that's okay. Like, I'm not. Again, I think it's awesome that you all loved it, and I can see the appeal. Like, it's not even that I think like nobody should like this.
You guys are stupid.
Yeah, I don't think that at all. I think Deb hit the nail on the head when she said that it kind of depends on where you are in your life and sort of what your thing is right now. And right now, my thing is I'm an empty nester and I'm really happy about it. And I wanted to slap these kids. And it just pissed me off. So
I don't think you should feel bad about being excited for this stage.
I don't.
Yeah, don't. Because you said earlier, like, I'm kind of worried about it.
You've raised your kids. You've done your time.
Yeah, don't feel bad about it.
I feel like I should feel bad, but I don't.
No.
Yeah.
You're being like Solène. This is the mom I should be.
Yes.
Well,
let's move into our nerdiest thing of the week. Who wants to go first?
Well, I have 3. One was the blind taste test with the alcoholic chocolates. I really enjoyed that. And I have another one of these to take to book club, by the way, another box. My second one is I was reading a physical copy of a book and tried to double tap on the page because when I'm reading on my Kindle, and especially there was a book I was reading. Oh, it was Casey McQuiston's The Pairing. It had some French phrases in it, and you can tap on it and see what they mean, right? And so I was reading a book and I was like, I don't know what that word means. And I literally fucking double tapped it. And I was like, that's not going to work. And then my third nerdiest thing of the week is that I did do a drawing of Castile based off Hayes from The Idea of You, which I really enjoyed. I added a lot of swagger to it though, because I mean he does look very young in that movie, and Castile's a little bit more worldly.
I enjoyed your rendering better than I.
Thank you. Although I did get shamed in the JLA group by a woman because she's like, "Well, I'm 43 and he is 29, and that's gross." And I was like, "Honey, I'm 42 and I'm fine with it." Again, I'm like, "You're part of the problem."
Exactly.
Like that is a 12-year age, 13-year age gap, and if it was a man, you would have said nothing.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm like, you go ahead and you go have your sad feelings in your house. I'm going to go over here and feel horny and be happy about it.
And we're not talking about 17 and 30, right?
Like exactly. We're talking about consenting adults.
It's all legal.
Yeah.
Well, I only have one nerdiest thing because, as Deb would say, I follow the rules. You've said that to me so many times.
Well, I'm breaking all the rules by thinking a 29-year-old man is very hot.
No, I don't think that breaks the rules.
It doesn't.
So mine is that my oldest gave my husband and I our Christmas presents this week. Right? Better late than never.
From last
year? I was just about to say this
December.
Early?
Yeah, no.
They're not early. They're late.
That is hilarious.
Okay.
And he gave me a coloring book because I like coloring books. I think they're fun. But he gave me one called the Smut Reader Coloring Book.
Oh.
And it's got all the great phrases. It's hilarious. I've linked it in the show notes. Go check it out. It's so funny.
Can I also add that if you're not following us on Instagram, number one, you should be Our Nerdiest Thing. Or I'm sorry, Instagram.com/Our Nerdiest Thing. But we also have a channel in there where we share all kinds of personal stuff. And Mindy's husband, for their new camper, they had they needed an outlet cover or something. And he 3D printed one that is the STFU, like a good girl, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Fucking hilarious.
And it's still up. I said, don't take that off because that's hilarious.
Well, and your kids aren't young enough to be like, what's that, mommy?
True.
What's yours, Whitney?
Well, I got a Kindle. because I found
you did.
I
did.
I guess I didn't know you didn't have one.
No, she reads on her iPad.
I've been reading on. Yeah, I've been reading on an iPad.
Like a loser.
Yeah. Well, now I've got a Kindle. I found an Amazon gift card that I had forgotten that I had, and I was like, oh, well, I'm going to get a Kindle. And then our friends on the video are like seeing me be like, I've lost my eyesight. The other one just happened yesterday. I'm trying to remember when so I was getting ready to teach the workout class that I teach, and this girl came up to me and she was like, I have something for you. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's my dick.
Yeah. I was like, this could go in a lot of different directions. And she was like, my friend ordered this stuff and they sent her the wrong thing. And she's like, what am I going to do with this? I don't want this. And I said, the girl says to me, I said, I know exactly who to give that to. And she pulls out like 10 stickers that are all like dark romance read.
Nice.
And I was like, I love the fact that you know that I'm the person for this.
For those.
They're so cute. I'll try to remember to take a picture to put on the Instagram, but they're so cute. And I was like, this is the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me. So,
hello, we're sitting right
at the bar, at the bar studio,
the bar studio, not at the bar.
Workout bar, as my dad calls it. Bar. But it was really funny because she was like, I know exactly who to give this to. And it was me. So.
I just found a vodka citrus chocolate in here, so I'm giving it to Whitney because she loves vodka. Ooh, there you go.
I do. Thank you. Stay tuned for our interview with Allie Shante and listen to our episode on Thursday.
And bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to Our Nerdiest Thing. Today we are live with a very special guest, author Allie Shante. Allie was born and raised in Georgia, but now gets to move around with her military husband and her 2 fur babies, Barry Allen and Loki. She has always had a love for books, and that love has never faltered. At the ripe old age of 13, Allie knew she would write a book, and many ideas later, living legend started to unravel itself into the book it is today. When she isn't diving into her mind palace, Allie likes to snuggle with the pups, read a good book, feed her online shopping habit, and conquer escape rooms with her husband. Allie will be at the 2024 Imaginarium Book Festival as a special guest author and a participating author in the Lit Talks at Imaginarium 2024 this June. Welcome to the podcast, Allie. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you much for having me.
I was really excited to see that you like to do escape rooms because Deb and Mindy and I have done an escape room before many, many years ago, and we were not good. We were very much not good at it. We did not escape. So I just, how are your skills? Is this like a competitive thing between you and your husband? How does this go for you guys?
So it's pretty like cooperative. I think it really depends. So I started doing escape rooms before him. I did maybe like 1 or 2 before he did. I did it at a friend's like birthday party, and that was awful. I've definitely learned that I do not like to be micromanaged by anybody.
Yeah.
And
just let me figure this out, okay?
It's like, especially people I don't know. Like, it's not like a boss paying me. It's just friends of hers that I don't know who are like all over me because I'm trying to open a briefcase, and I'm like, please do anything else. Or just take the briefcase away at this point. So like, he didn't know anything about them. And then that was when we started dating. And so I was like, I really liked it. I don't know like how I feel about them in general. I think it's just a group of people. And then we did one together, and then we really liked it. And then that was another set of people. And then we finally did one with just the 2 of us. And that one we got out by like mere seconds. And I think it's just like this big adrenaline rush. And then it's like, it's basically like, that was like history. Like, this was just like what we do now. This is the hobby as couples.
Yeah.
Like what we do. We try to get anybody to do one, and then we just decide whether or not they actually liked it. Because not everybody ends up liking them.
Yeah, if they stop returning your text messages all of a sudden after doing a room with you,
they're like, you know what,
okay.
I'm fine. But I think we're both pretty good. We're both just very different. There's actually, I think, a quiz somewhere out there where you can kind of figure out how, like, who you are in the escape room in like a group of people.
Right.
And he's very much I'm going to open everything, probably a tile in the ceiling.
Yep.
I'll accidentally break something, but apologize to the camera.
Yeah, it's like you get convinced everything is a clue. And it's like, no, that's just the wall. Like, no, that's just the carpet. And
like he'll break something and and then look and be like, I'm sorry, I'm putting it back. And I'm like, it's too late. You already broke it now.
It's like you kind of become a mini conspiracy theorist just within that little room, right? Like anything and everything can be true. That's fun. It helps you learn really who somebody is in a high stress situation. Like an escape
a lot of
room
people are doing their like first dates in like escape rooms now. Because most people think that if they can like last like an hour in a room with this person, then the second date might be.
Oh wow.
It might be required. I think for us, it's very much like we are very different, but we complement each other in the room. But we have had pretty big arguments in the escape room.
We've all been there. That's funny. Well, let's talk a little bit about your writing. I love your at the ripe old age of 13, you knew you wanted to be an author, which a lot of authors we talk to are like that, right? They knew from a very early age what they wanted to do. And I was just curious how, when you know what you want to do at a young age, sometimes it's easy to let that be like, oh, well, that was just as a kid. That was like a kid fantasy. That's not real. How did you stay focused on your goal and make that become the reality for you?
I think when I was 13, I wanted to write a book, but it was one of those, I want to write a book, but like, I don't know what that means. So I'm just going to I'm going to say that sentence and think that it's magic and something will happen. And I really liked writing stories at that time. So like, there's majority of a lot of like composition books full of just unfinished things that I just had a lot of thoughts. And it wasn't something that was through 13 to now me being 31. It's basically 13 to like maybe the middle of high school. And then I just stopped. And then I stopped until maybe sophomore year of college. And then I would write a little bit and then I stopped. Yeah. And then when I got married, I started again. And I didn't get married until I was like 25. So it took some time. I definitely had other priorities and other things to think about. And I think I didn't really get into reading again until like about right before I got married. And then fantasy wasn't even what I got into. So I'm still a very vague. It's not my first love. People find that very strange. For some reason, my first love will always be like contemporary romances.
Is that what you got into when you started getting back into reading contemporary?
Yeah, romance? I got very much into Christina Lauren's like Beautiful Bastard series, and I binged all of those. And then of course, at that time when I was in college, 50 Shades of Grey was big, and so I like read all of that. And I had read Twilight in high school and stuff, and like, I mean, vampires and stuff are cool, but it just wasn't. I read it for the fact that the movie came out, and I wanted to read all the books before all the movies, and so I binged all of them. But I think with writing, I knew I wanted to write something. I just didn't know what was like publishable to me.
Sure.
But I knew I didn't want to just like write something. Obviously, like I like what this author's doing, but I'm not going to write that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like reading that, but I don't know if that's what I want to write. And
that's really
I don't know what happened. Yeah, I don't really know what happened.
Something happened, and here we are.
Something happened, and like COVID hit, and I was like, there's a book. A book got started. So, I mean, motivation's a big issue, but I think once I actually get started, it's kind of just like full speed ahead. Sure. And it's like that with every book that it's like that with Living Legend. It was like that with Legendary. It took me a minute. And then when I got in it, it was like 4 a.m. of like writing. But like that wasn't the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just have to go with it, right? Like when you have the motivation and the energy and the focus, you just take advantage of that and just go with it. So as a reader right now, are you still mostly reading contemporary romance when you're just reading for fun, or have you moved more into reading fantasy as well?
I'm still very much a contemporary girl. I love fantasy. I feel like I'm pickier with fantasy. I definitely don't read it when I'm like actively writing a book. I just feel myself like thinking like I should be writing my own book right now. Like I should be in my own world that I created right now. And so I'll pick kind of like a contemporary where, they have cell phones and cars and stuff and like actual things in the real world that I can use, and it's not like an urban fantasy where like some of those things might pop up. But I think that I definitely gear more towards reading contemporary, and then I sprinkle in like the fantasies. I think it is just because that's what I write. And so reading it, it's not that I think like, oh, I'm going to use this idea or, oh, this is going to pop into my head. It's just, it's that thing that I want to say, I don't know which author had said it in one of her stories, but it was like sometimes reading things that are like anywhere close, it's like you get this sense of like sadness of being like, wow, this is really great. I suck.
Like a comparison.
Yeah, and you feel like really bad about yourself, but like you're not saying this person's terrible. This is really great, but like I'm also really great. But when I'm reading it, I also think I'm trash. So
I think I would do that exact same thing. It would be really hard for me to read the same genre that I was working on and not, not compare. I think that's probably natural. We've heard from a lot of authors too that they try to stay away from any kind of similar genre at all while they're working. Actively working on their book because it's just it gets too in their head. And we should talk more about contemporary romance though, because I'm super into contemporary romance as well. So do you like dark romance?
I do like dark romance. I think my very first dark romance was not Haunting Adeline, what everybody else says.
I will not read that. Yeah.
That was not, I own it, but like that was not my first one. I think my first one was it was a toss-up between The Never King and Rosie Alice's The Howells Boys were my two like dark romances, and they're very different. They're both Y2s. So that was like my first dip into Y2s, and I was like, this is nice here. we like it in Y2's land.
Yeah, and The Bonds That Tie is my favorite Y2s, anything.
I've heard that like a lot of my friends were very frustrated, but they loved that series. It was just that they wanted it to happen a lot sooner, and they're just like, "Where is it?"
Oh, I love
one
it.
Through whatever. They're like,
I highly recommend it if you haven't read The Bonds That Tie. That's like I read it like once a month because I'm a psycho, but I love it so much. But also two like dark romance indie authors that I really love are Elle Mitchell and Ember Nicole. Mm-hmm. They are fantastic. But I could talk about contemporary romance all day long, but we won't because we're going to talk about your male character simps because I was creeping on your website preparing for this interview. And I loved your website says basically that your characters are strong female protagonists and men who land in simp city, which first of all made me laugh. But that is totally what I like to read, right? I want to read a strong female character with a simp for the male love interest, right? And I was just curious to hear, do you remember a character or a couple, fictional movie, book, whatever, that kind of started your love for those types of characters, the simp male with a strong female?
I don't know if it was like an act, like one, like a couple or one person. I think it was just like a collection of characters that I really liked. But I think when I write, I never like pinpoint, like I'm writing it based on this one person. I think like my main character, Nick, what's the only one that was based on like a fictional character from another book.
Oh, yeah.
And like another show and whatever, because they picked that book up for a TV show and a movie. So that was like the only person. Other than that, like everybody's just kind of like an array of different sets of people.
Yeah.
But I still am. I'm still living like my Gossip Girl era. So I have always loved that show. I've always been a Chuck Bass girl. Mm-hmm. I always liked Blair. I always thought Blair was like, yes, she was like not the greatest human being, but like I always thought she was this strong character.
None of them are, right?
Yeah, none of them were great, but like I thought that she was great in her own right. Okay, she deserved a spinoff, and I would have watched that constantly. And I just liked that, Chuck was this like, this is who my dad is kind of like man, but then he was like, I'm gonna buy you all these other things, and I'm gonna do all these things for you, and like, but I'm also going to be kind of like trash sometimes, but like, I'm also a man.
Yeah.
So clearly that comes with the territory. Right. And I'm going to like also be like a simp for you and like buy you all these things from Paris. And I was like, I like this. my main male character won't be wealthy, but he'll have some of these attributes.
He can check all the other boxes.
Yeah, just money might not be his strong suit, but
right.
I definitely like penned off of that, and then obviously my book stems from a lot of different like TV shows more so than books. So like it's very much like a Good Omens vibe. It's very much a supernatural vibe. So
supernatural.
I get I get a lot of those. Like I took like the Castiels of the world and was like, we will make a book about you, but make you a little bit more in tune with what's going on.
So we love supernatural also. Are you more of a Sam girl or more of a Dean girl?
I'm more of a Dean girl. I thought Sam complained a lot, so I was like, no.
Me too. I
like Dean. I love
Dean. Yeah, I think that's the correct answer.
That is yes. Yeah, my sister got me into Supernatural, and then that in turn, every birthday I would buy her whatever box set was out, and then we would watch said box set.
I love that.
And I remember she absolutely hated Sam. She did not like Sam at all. She would much rather have their dad.
Oh, you know
Jeffrey
what?
Dean Morgan.
Me too, kind of.
I know.
Ooh, I mean,
like, I was like, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, it's fine. We could just take him. And Dean.
So funny.
Dean's the only reason why I watched The Boys. I was waiting for him to show up.
I still haven't started watching that. I know I want to because I know that he's in it eventually, but I still haven't gotten there. But
it's gonna take like 3 seasons and then he shows up.
Yeah, but we love Supernatural here too. That's a very common like fandom in the book community, I feel like. So let's talk a little bit about your series. So you are the author of the series is the Living Legend series, and that's also the title of the first book. So you've got Living Legend, which is book 1, and then Legendary is book 2, and there's also a prequel novella.
Yeah.
And are there plans for? It's not a finished series yet, is that right? You're still working on it?
No, so it's a trilogy. So for like the main set of what's going on. So this book will be like the last one that has Danny and Nick as your lead POVs. And then I have like probably like 2 to 3 more novellas like laced throughout. And then I have like a spinoff for like the 2 side characters, not together, but separately.
Awesome.
And then I have a prequel plan, but that is like 2 years down the road, Allie's problem. And we're not thinking about that right now, but that's going to happen at some point because it's kind of required with as much like the past that I talk about in this book. So like it's kind of needed.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about book 1 for people that haven't read any of that series. What can they expect if they pick up Living Legend?
So I'd expect it's a Angels, Demons, and Magic. It's an adult fantasy romance, and she's the demon and he's the angel. And they're forced to work together to figure out how a demon got from purgatory into Heaven's Gate. So it's a little bit of a mystery. You got forced proximity. It's like a slow medium burn, and he definitely falls very hard very early. I've been told that it's very like insta-lusty, but like nothing happens. It's just a lot of mental.
A lot of tension.
Like it's very much like a physical attraction at first. Like they definitely think each other is cute.
Yeah.
For like a friendly word. They like
we're
you
not
can
super
definitely
family
tell.
friendly. That's okay.
Yeah, we'll just say literally in like I think it's really early in chapter 2 that he sees her and instantly he's like, wow, I haven't gotten laid in a very long time. So he definitely likes her. It's a lot of in denial.
Lots of like staring at each other.
It's a lot of him staring at her, and she's like,
"Don't be a creep."
Like, she's like, "I know what you're looking at, but I think it's cute, but you're not going to do anything." And then that changes somewhere in the middle of the book, but
nice.
It's definitely before halfway, so it's not like a slow burn where like 99% you're like finally.
It's like a medium burn.
It's like 45%. You're like, okay.
Nice. I love that. So it's a little bit forbidden romance. It's a little bit opposite attracts, kind of enemies to lovers kind of vibes.
It's definitely more like reluctant allies because they don't hate each other. He's very much a different. Nick is very much a morally confused character. He doesn't really understand why he likes her, but he doesn't have anything against her. Like he's just kind of like, oh, we have to work together, but I find you really attractive. But like, mental dilemmas like that he has with himself. The side characters have more of like an enemies to just enemies thing. Like they just don't like each other. And everybody has to play middleman to that not friendship that's going on between their friends. But Nick and Danny are very much just like eye banging each other throughout like the whole book.
And it's dual POV, right? It's from both of their perspectives.
It's pretty equal. In the book, I tried to keep it pretty equal, but I quickly learned through editing that that wasn't gonna work. So I was like, I would have to look at my husband and be like, "Is it okay to have like 3 Nick chapters in a row?" And he's like, "I don't know, sure." I was like, "All right, well, this is what's happening then," because I have nothing for her to say.
You gotta follow where the characters take you, right?
So. Pretty much. I was like, it's either you get 3 Nick chapters or you get 1 Nick chapter that's like 200 pages long. So.
And either way, I bet it's good.
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's after the spice is already like done and happened. It's towards the end of the book. So I was like, people need to know his thoughts more, even though he's upset. So he's upset some people recently, but it's fine. We can all be angry. We can all be angry at him.
Awesome. Well, that sounds totally up our alley for sure, especially as Supernatural fans. It's going to move up on my TBR, the never ending TBR. Right? There's always something awesome right around the corner to read. So we'll see you at Imaginarium in June, which is only a few weeks away. Is there anybody that you are really excited to get to meet in person or see again, or just generally fangirl over at Imaginarium?
I am very happy. I was assisting one of my friends who is also going to be an Imaginarium signing. I assisted her at a Polycon, and I got to see Amber Palmer for like the first time, and I did not recognize it was her when I saw her. I just like looked at her sweatshirt and I was like, I know that book. And I was like, cool. Oh, I know you. And then we like hugged and everything. So that'll be like the second time I'm seeing her, but I'm very excited because they're both going to the brunch, and I was like, we're sitting next to each other.
Oh, fun.
I was like, we're gonna snuggle, and it's gonna be cute. And then Ella Friedman and me have never met, but we talk all the time. And I was like, we're on the same floor, and she's like out in the veranda with like Tracy Wolf and stuff, and I'm inside with like Sophie Kim and other people. Sure. I was like, and then she was like, we can just look through the glass. And be like,
I see you.
She was like this. She like sent me the map, and she's like, this is me and this is you, and then she put like a heart in between.
Aww, them. That's cute.
I was like, I'm so excited. So I'm really excited to like see them, and then me and Amber on our lit talk together. So I was like, this is gonna be the nightmare. Sitting next to each other.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, we're really excited about the Lit Talks. It's going to be super fun. Well, speaking of Lit Talks, we're going to go into one of our sort of speed rounds. This is the type of game that we'll play during Lit Talks. So this will give you a little bit of an idea of what it'll be like with us. And this is read it or write it, where I'm going to give you kind of a trope with a weird twist. And you just tell me, would you rather write this book or would you rather read this book?
Okay.
So first one, the one horse trope, but instead of a horse, it's a blow up sumo wrestling suit. Write it or read it?
I'm pretty sure I would not write it, but I would read the heck out of that. So
I feel like there could be some really cool, slow burn inside.
I mean, there's a lot of it's a major force proximity. I feel like there would just be some heat stroke issues going on there. Like it would be a safety hazard.
Yeah. So next up, a strong female main character with a simp male main character, But the simp is actually a dinosaur humanoid who wears MC Hammer pants. Write it or read it?
I would write it. I feel like it's on the verge of like alien monster romance. So I mean, like it's a whole new twist on the genre. And I mean,
yeah,
he's got fashion, you know.
Fashion.
I mean, like you're already a dinosaur, so like
sure.
You might as well just be fancy.
There's some humanoid in there too, so you know it could be more human.
As long as the pants have like a tail hole.
That's true. Maybe that's why he has to wear MC Hammer pants, because
just the wide.
Yeah. All right. So next up, your scent is like my own personal brand of heroin, but he's actually talking about her morning breath and wants her to never brush her teeth. Write it or read it?
I feel like I would read that only because I have been told that like my dialogue and banter is like very good in my book, so I feel like that's literally just asking for like the best dialogue in the world. Is that whole sentiment?
It's got a lot of potential, right? I had a lot of fun coming up with these, just so everybody knows. There's two more. So the next one is slow burn, but literally anytime the main couple physically touch, they burn each other, and it feels like acid. Would you rather write that or read that?
I would definitely write it. I mean, it's very forbidden. That's very like, will they, won't they? It's very like, I can't touch you, but like, am I willing to burn my own skin off for you?
Like, is it worth it?
I mean, is it? I mean, like, it's, you know, burn the world down for her or burn my own skin. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Same concept.
You should do that. I give you permission to take this idea and turn it into that book there.
What's the trope? Their skin comes off when they touch, guys. They have to wear gloves.
Yeah. And then last but not least, human woman with an angel mate, but the angel is really 1970s Burt Reynolds in a banana hammock onesie. Write it or read it?
I would just read it, because I know there are people that could probably kill this way better than me.
Oh man, that was fun.
I'm just here for the banana hammock. So
that actually was inspired by a Cards Against Humanity. The Nerd Pack cards has a picture of Burt Reynolds in a banana hammock onesie, and I have no idea what it's from, but it must be from some weird like 1970s sci-fi movie or something. And it is. I'm going to bring it to Imaginarium because we're going to do something with it somehow in the Lit Talks. But I was like, what is that?
To be like, guys, quick few minute story. Just this is your
card. This is your main character.
This is your main. Yeah.
What's the story? Yeah, that really is the current plan. Actually, that's pretty funny. Well, thank you for being a good sport with that. Write it or read it. I know those are weird ideas, but I had a lot of fun coming up with them. So where can readers best connect with you? Is social media the best place, or contacting you through your website? Where are you the most present, would you say, for readers?
I'm definitely the most present on social media. I would definitely say with all the changes and algorithms and whatnot, Instagram has been like the nicest to me. So definitely on there. I do have like a PA now, so emailing her with any questions that I like just am not able to answer immediately, or just general questions, would be the best option. She's also tagged in my profile on Instagram.
Perfect.
And then also just like my newsletter is tagged also in my profile. So on there, I'm definitely not one of those newsletter people that are like constantly like they have like a situation where it's like bi-monthly or quarterly. I'm like, whenever the bell tolls, guys, we're just gonna send out a newsletter today.
When I have something to say.
When I have something to say, I will give it to you. I'm not one of those people that I have something going on constantly. So I don't have things to say. And I feel like nobody wants to just read like a random newsletter of me being like a one-sided conversation.
Hey guys, it's me again.
And I'm sitting in it's like a vlog that nobody wants to watch. Like,
I bet your readers would love to hear a one-sided conversation at any point.
I'm like, what I do today, I went to work. It was awful. The end. Now I'm in bed taking a nap. Bye. That would be me.
Dear diary. Yeah.
I'm taking a nap today with one of my dogs.
Well, throw in something about 1970s Burt Reynolds, and I bet everyone would have their
a banana hammock onesie.
Yeah, their interest would be piqued, right? So where can we purchase your books? Do you sell books through your website, or is it only through booksellers, websites, that kind of thing?
So Amazon would be like the best option to just buy the book and get it delivered immediately. Because I have so many signings like back to back to back. My website is like not really available to be purchasing like a book right now.
Sure.
I just like don't have the time or the stock because it's all going to signings. And then,
which is a great problem to have.
Yeah, it's a great problem. It's just like mentally, I'm just like gone.
Sure.
And then with booksellers, it's very sporadic. So I'm like in the bookseller in like Fairfax, Virginia, near where I live, and then I'm in like 2 Barnes and Nobles in like Florida, and then there's like all these other Barnes and Nobles, all these other bookstores that like randomly like have it on inventory. So I really wouldn't be able to tell anybody like where it shows up.
Right.
So it's mainly just like if you want to see it, then like calling that bookstore would be the best option. But those are like the actual physical places I know that they are at.
Right. The most consistent place is Amazon.
Yeah, that would be like the best option, and then just bringing it to me.
Yeah, or at signing,
at signings to sign, because I'm very surprised when people bring me my own book and I'm like, you own it?
Oh, that's cool. Nice. That's cool, though. Of course. Yeah. So what other signings or events are you going to be at over the next several months besides Imaginarium?
So I will be at Stimulant at the beginning of August. I'll be at Sinners and Stardust at the end. I'll be at Flirty in Tampa at the beginning of October, and at Books, Gowns, and Crowns at the end of October. And then like sprinkled throughout that is I have a signing at Barnes & Nobles in Fairfax, Virginia, and then I have a signing in Orlando, Florida, and that Barnes & Noble in like November. And then I'm just done. Cool. So like nobody asked me to do anything. Nobody asked me to do anything.
Take off some time.
Yeah, because then literally 2025 starts, and I already have all the signings for 2025. So,
and are those all listed on your website also?
So I have to like organize all of that, all the signings and things, and like add all those in, but they will be. But mainly everything that's on 2024 is on like my link tree. So all the pre-order forms and all those things are all like, and then it's also like when they happen. So It's like Imaginarium first, Stimulant, and they'll go away as like the signings stop.
Awesome. So people can stay up to date with.
I try to do it as best I can. Yeah, Instagram is like where I try to add everything, anything, and everything. And then
so do we. I totally understand.
Yeah, I'm like, one day I'll get my, life together.
I say that every day. It still hasn't happened.
I'm like, actually, probably not.
Well, we're all just being hot messes, and it's totally fine because we're all on the same boat, right? So with the website, our podcast being called Our Nerdiest Thing, we like to end all of our episodes by sharing what our nerdiest thing of the week is. And usually it is book related, but it doesn't have to be. It's really just something that we are really excited about, something that we nerded out over or fangirled over. And so we would love to hear what your nerdiest thing of the week is for right now.
What have I done that's like super nerdy? I don't know. So I feel like I just sleep a lot. Work and sleep a lot. I think like the nerdiest thing I've done is, I wouldn't call it really nerdy. I think it's just like a bookish thing that most people would, is that I bought, and most people do it. So I don't know. I went to Dollar General and I was like, do you have one of those like, the little things that have the little pods in it that you can like put up to like do the moisture? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, give me like 4 of those. And like me just hiding it behind pictures on top of my bookshelf. And I was like, I can't let the babies get all yellow.
Yeah. Well, that counts as a nerdy thing. Sure.
I was just like, what's that? And I was like, it's to make sure that the books last. Okay, even though half of these books look decrepit now because I've had them forever.
That just means they're loved. That's what I always say.
Yeah, it means they're well loved. Like one of my books, when I went to Steamulate last year, I brought like every book from Christina Lauren that like I hadn't had signed. Like I just looked through all the books and I was like, all right. And it was half the cart that I brought over to them. And they were like, we can personalize one and then we'll just sign all the other ones. And I said, I don't care. That's fine. And I was like,
here you go. Here you go.
I mean, people were just hating me while I was there. I was just like, here's these books. And then they're just like,
you gotta take advantage.
Like, you have no limit.
Yeah, no, you got to take advantage of the opportunity when it comes up. But thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Allie, for being on. And it's been really fun to get to kind of meet you before we meet each other for real at Imaginarium. It's been really, really fun to chat with you. And we're really excited to see you in person for real and buy your books from you at your table and get them all signed.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm just like hoping that I don't like forget when this lit talk happens.
Oh, somebody will come find you, I promise.
Okay, because I was like, I'll either be zoned out because ours is the last one. So I'm like, I will be zoned out on Saturday.
Oh, no, we kind of all will feel that way, but I promise you somebody will come and find you. I think we had to do that with a couple of authors last year too. So
okay.
They'll be on top of it. So don't even worry about it. Well, have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much. And we'll see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Like what you heard in this episode? Follow Our Nerdiest Thing on Instagram at instagram.com/Our Nerdiest Thing or Facebook at facebook.com/Our Nerdiest Thing. We love hearing from fellow nerds. Email us at ournerdiestthing@gmail.com.